So science knows that burning fossil fuels creates a ton of CO2, and it predicts that more CO2 will heat up the Earth.
Right.
And we're seeing these predictions come true, and a ton of bad stuff's already happening to people. So why do we keep hearing that climate change is just normal, or no big deal, or that it's like not happening at all, like it's just some big hoax?
Oh, you know what? I kind of can't talk about this right now, so I'm gonna... I'm just joking.
I swear.
Let's look at both those claims head on. It's true that the climate has changed for natural reasons, mainly due to variations in the Earth's orbit. But usually it happens slowly over thousands of years, so animals and even early humans had a chance to evolve and adapt. But now we're seeing levels of CO2 pollution spike super fast, over just a few decades.
What? That's not normal.
Nope. Can we adapt to such sudden changes? I don't know. I mean, how can billions of people pick up their cities and move to a safer spot? We're in deep trouble if this gets out of control. So yeah, the climate does change on its own, but what we're seeing today, this time it's on us humans. Then there are some people that say climate change isn't happening at all, that it's some giant conspiracy.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Many of these people know how to use YouTube. But very few of them are actual climate scientists. In fact, many aren't scientists at all. Ask climate scientists, and 97% of them will tell you that it's real and humans are causing it. So, who are you gonna believe? Say 9 out of 10 dentists tell you you need a root canal, but then a professional Minecraft player tells you you don't. You wouldn't want to believe the dentist, but you would, right?
Right.
So why does it seem like we're not sure about climate change? Because a small number of people are screaming loudly, trying to make you believe that we just don't have enough information to be sure yet.
Why would anyone want to do that?
Well, some of them are too scared to face the truth. Others think caring about climate change is a political issue. But carbon dioxide isn't a Republican or a Democrat. It just traps heat. And then there are people who are afraid that admitting the problem is real will hurt their businesses. They spend huge amounts of money to spread lies designed to make us believe that the science isn't settled.
But that's just dishonest and dangerous.
Exactly. We do have a problem.
And good evening and welcome everybody. I am Sandy Shellis and this is Environmental Coffee House. I have a good show tonight. A lot of interesting things going on, and I just want to say hi to Kim and thank you for moderating as usual. And hello Bella and Lightning Rod. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of you here. This is really great. I hope you like my little intro because after all, a lot of this is for them. It isn't for my age group. I won't be around, but that's no reason not to be an activist. Okay, I digress. So tonight I am bringing you the the Bullshiit Brigade. It's time for the Heartland Institute to have their annual conference. They didn't have it last year. They had it in 2019, and we're going to go through a bit of who they are, a little bit about them, and I will tell you that their stance on climate change, and this is directly from DeSmog Blog, who I think they do a really good job on telling us about these people. They say that probably 2/3 of the warming in the 90s was due to natural causes. The warming trend already has stopped, and forecasts of future warming are unreliable, and the benefits of moderate warming are likely to outweigh the costs. So, in other words, they said global warming is not a crisis, and that is actually the that is really the thread that they carry through all of their material everywhere. So it is, they've picked up a lot of conspiracy kind of stuff. They're an interesting lot. I'll tell you. I will tell you that. This is their website, and I have to say they have taken the format. Unless all these people use all the same software, they've taken the same format as the almost as the IPCC. Okay, so the IPCC has a similar format. See the format? Okay, and so does the Heartland Institute. And guess what? There is another one that is a player here that gets into this, and that is the World Economic Forum. They must all use the same website developer or web server because they all look the same. All right, so let's get on a little bit with this bunch, okay? This bunch of bozos, really. I want to get to where they talk about what their climate conference is about, and it's their 14th, and they oh wait, I cannot find. Notice that they have no sponsors. Where are their sponsors? Where are they? I don't know. But I am looking for, okay, the about, and okay, here we go. This is what I need to start with, so that you can enjoy this as much as I do. This conference is about the Great Reset, folks. The Great Reset, climate realism versus climate socialism. And just so you know, I will never refer to myself as a climate realist ever again, even though I am, because these people have co-opted it and I can't use it. So we'll have to think of something a little bit more creative, because I certainly do not want to be associated with them. So the great reset. Join the fight for climate realism over climate socialism. Yeah, what is climate socialism, for God's sakes? Yes, let's hear it for climate socialism. Okay, so let's join that fight. And they say that the climate alarm industry and its media allies present a daily barrage of false, misleading, and one-sided information designed to convince people, right, that a climate crisis is at hand. People, is there a climate crisis at hand? Oh my God, I had no clue. Oh, wow. Do you know that they as the years pass, the climate crisis keeps being pushed into the future? But why? Why, you say? Because the forces of collectivism and big controlling government are using it as a means to gain more control over us. Okay, so they have a little libertarian lean there. The global climate agenda, as promoted by the United Nations, is to overhaul the entire global economy, usher in socialism, and forever transform society as one in which individual liberty and economic freedom are crushed. My God, the guy is Klaus Schwab, and he's the founder. He's the evil one. He's the new George Soros, and he is the founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum. And he recently penned an article for the special edition of Time that focused exclusively on the Great Reset, titled "A Better Economy is Possible, but we need to reimagine capitalism. Do it!" That article, it reveals the great crux of the Great Reset. Well, I am not going to exactly talk about that to a degree, but But I do want to give you a little background, all right? I'm going to give you a little background on why they are like they are. Because, quite frankly, they are why the earliest alarmism about the Great Reset came from the Heartland Institute. They are ground zero of the climate change denial machine. And Naomi Klein wrote about them also. And she wrote about the Great Reset in The Intercept. But first, I'll give you a little bit about them. They are part of this like nesting group and part of this right-wing organization, bunch of people that, they follow each other. And they have sought to undermine public confidence in mainstream climate science. It publishes climate realist books and articles that find their way into Republican platforms and into the media, and they have tried to push the material into schools. So, when Betsy DeVos was in the schools, I think she had a little bit to do with this. So, I'm going to tell you that Davos is where all those rich billionaire people go, and they go there to discuss what they can do to make more money and now to maybe look like they are actually giving a shit about the problems of the world. And their Great Reset, this big, great, gigantic reset, is merely their latest edition of that. They're in a gilded cage. It wasn't even distinguishable from earlier Davos big ideas, from shaping the post-crisis world, that was in 2009, to rethink, redesign, and rebuild in 2010, to the Great Transformation, 2012. And, who can forget, creating a shared future in a fractured world, that was 2018. So if Davos wasn't seeking like a better form of capitalism to solve the spiraling crises, Davos itself systematically deepened, according to Naomi. It wouldn't be Davos. It would not be Davos. So the World Economic Forum, the evil now cold status, the Great Reset, it's really not a serious effort to actually solve any of the crises it describes. So it attempts to create a plausible impression that these rich people, that these very, very wealthy billionaires, they want to create that implausible impression that the huge winners in this system are on the verge of voluntarily setting greed aside and to get serious about solving the raging crises that are radically destabilizing our world. That's about that. I mean, so Heartland has picked up on it, and they insist that green socialism is about to be forced down our throats via the Great Reset discussed at Davos. Well, I'm here to tell you that is all bullshit. All those, I am not cheering them on, the World Economic Forum. I'm not cheering them on, but they certainly don't earn the status in my book as anything more than a bunch of very wealthy people meeting together to have a meeting and actually accomplish nothing. And behind it, what accomplishes something is their individual corporations. And okay, they get together to figure out how to make more money. Yeah, all right. So that's what they do. So the Heartland is part of that fraction in the conservative movement, which continues to push against climate action, with warnings that the agenda for climate action is part of that socialist plot to undermine the American way of life. And it's, quote, "It's climate delusion. It's a climate collusion," unquote. That's James Taylor, and he is a senior fellow at the Heartland Institute. And he told an audience of about 250 gathered at the Trump International Hotel in Washington for the Institute's 13th International Conference on Climate Change. So that was the last one, I think, they had. And, you know, for the right-wing politicians and the oil companies that back these guys, the more climate action can be conflated with an organization known for its traffic jams and private jets and its Bond villain founder, the easier it'll be to resist any climate plan at all. So plant the seed. Plant that seed. That's really what they do. They plant the seed. So I'm going to show you a little bit about them. All right. And we will go to the first one.
Hello, I'm Sterling Burnett, Senior Fellow and Managing Editor of Environment and Climate News. Sorry for that little snafu. I'm pleased to be here with you today for the third presentation in the Heartland Institute's 14th International Conference on Climate Change lecture series. I thank everyone out there who is joining us, and I hope many more will join us as the session goes on. Our 14th International Conference on Climate Change will be held in Las Vegas, Nevada at Caesars Palace, running from October 15th through 17th. The conference's timely theme is, quote, The Great Reset, Climate Realism versus Climate Socialism.
So now that we've met the two I'm focusing on tonight, okay, I got a piece from someone that created something for the show, Greg Coriangi, and I hope I am pronouncing your name right. I'm going to show you what he did. This is great. This is really great. And because they are having their conference, they have speakers, like, you know, usual people that have speakers, have conferences, have speakers. And she can't hear me. All right, I went down. Sorry. I didn't mute myself. It just went all the way down. Am I better? Okay, so conferences have speakers, and this is a piece, and I'm going to tell you, I love this. Yeah, I fixed it, Bella. Thank you. Sorry about that. It was a flick of my finger that just adjusted the audio. So it's going to be instructive, and this is brilliant, Greg, brilliant. It'll be instructive to examine the scientific value of peer-reviewed research published by speakers at the upcoming Heartland Institute conference. The aptly named Bullshiit Brigade of Climate Deniers. Thank you very much to me. But how do scientists value research? Stay tuned while we learn about the H index. All right, so we are going to learn about the H index. These are the speakers, and amongst them is Moncton and Patrick Moore and William Happer, just these wonderful names, and other people, the H. Sterling guy. All right, so let me tell you what the H index is. All right. The H index it's named after George Hirsch, and it is a measure of scientific productivity. So it's an author-level metric that measures both productivity and citation impact of the publications of an individual scientist or scholar. The H index correlates with obvious success. It's these indicators, such as winning the Nobel Prize, being accepted for research fellowships, and holding positions at top universities. All right, that's from Wikipedia. So what is a good H index? Well, Hirsch reckons that after 20 years of research, an H index of 20 is good, 40 is outstanding, and 60 is truly exceptional. In his paper, Hirsch shows that successful scientists do indeed have high H indices 84% of Nobel Prize winners in physics, for example, had an H index of at least 30. So data will be from Scopus, a comprehensive index of refereed scientific literature. Okay, so we're going to learn what it is. This is this author, and this is a sample, okay? He created a sample, which is absolutely awesome to teach us this. This author published 67 papers, this sample author, and his H index is 23. This means that 23 papers have been cited by researchers 23 or more times. The H index is sort of like the square root of the author's scientific output. The higher it gets, the harder it is to make it to the next rung. So if you can see this, hi Gregory Cole. Gregory, you're so wonderful. I just want to say hi. Put him on. This is the author of this, and it was just wonderful. And he said this to me today. I'm so grateful. So we're gonna let's get into this and see it a little bit closer. So the author's H index. The H index is based upon the number of documents and number of citations. So as you can see here, you see the most cited paper, which is 150 citations. And then you go down and you can see 23 or papers have been cited 23 or more times. So that's the axis points there. 67 papers published. And that is citations and documents. Okay, and on the left side, you'll see the name of all of those different things for this sample person. All right. So to calibrate the range of expected values and, a little bit of amusement, right? Okay. All right. Let's first look at the H index of some of these COVID-19 related researchers. All right. So we've got the U.S. Brain Trust right here. Rand Paul versus Anthony Fauci. Now, Fauci's H index is one of the highest in the world. Google says he's 35th in his research. Rand Paul, what do you have? Nothing. All right. Nothing. Okay. So Rand Paul has nothing. And then these are the 2020 Nobel Prize for CRISPR. Emmanuel Carpentier and Jennifer Doudna. 45 and 150. Thanks in part to the work of these two women and their research teams, we got vaccines in months instead of years or decades. So that's pretty cool. Did anybody know who these women were? That's really cool, and I applaud them. So now on range calibration, okay? Now the Secretary of Energy, a very, very important research oversight position. Under Obama, we got the Nobel laureate in physics, Dr. Stephen Chu. He had an H index of 98. But under Trump, oh, that distinguished Eagle Scout, Rick Perry, he got an H index of 0. So now we go on to the Bullshiit Brigade. Look at this. These are the speakers at the Heartland Institute. The climate-related refereed papers, and the H index of the first 7 speakers listed on the website for the Heartland Institute 2021 conference. Here they go. Papers. H index. Now, there is a little caveat here with Happer, okay? Happer's a physicist. He took up climate denial in retirement. Must have been, a little bit of money. His H index as an atomic physicist is quite high. Well, idle hands are the devil's tool. So he now has nothing. Christopher Monckton, he's got, 7-1? And Patrick Moore, he's even worse. He's 0. Amy Oliver Cook, nothing. E. Calvin Beisner, PhD, 1. And that wonderful guy that we met earlier, E. Sterling Burnett, 3-1. Then Justin Danhoff, as you can see, 0-0. So this is a world-class conference. This is an absolutely world-class conference that the Heartland Institute is putting on. I just think that, my gosh, I can't believe that we might even miss this in October. I can't get to Vegas. Can any of you? I mean, this is going to be like epic. I think it's going to be epic. So where I'm going to go next is, and thank you, Gregory. That was marvelous. I learned. I thought it was great. And let's go to, take it away, guys.
I realized that a good portion of climate science has been overhyped and oversold. And it's been a steady drumbeat of going from one point to another with trying to make people believe it. And they keep upping the ante. And now the latest one, of course, is climate emergency. That's the buzzword. They're talking climate emergency.
Well, they're talking climate emergency, but don't you rightly think so? I do. We listen. We're in a climate emergency. They are just the chief cooks and bottle washers of gaslighting and denial. But we are definitely in a climate emergency, and I'll tell you, the IPCC says it so, and I would trust the IPCC a million times with all of the scientists that they have. And even though they use the same website as everybody else, before I would trust that little teeny group of fossil fuel infused losers, morons, whatever you want to call them, misguided people. Misguided people, because you get the idea here that here's one. Impossibly inconsistent climate disaster claims, an Alice in Wonderland fantasy. I'll tell you, I think that they literally have the group of people that they appeal to, I'd say, have maybe an 8th grade to a 10th grade education. I don't know. Maybe they're graduates of high school. Perhaps they're graduates of high school. I wouldn't know. I've not looked at their statistics on the statistics of that. But this is just they're typical stuff, typical stuff. I'm going to give you a little piece here from one of their publications called Climate at a Glance. Greenland ice melt. All right. Greenland ice melt. Climate activists, including government bureaucrats, claim the Greenland ice sheet is melting 6 times faster than it was 30 years ago. Okay, guys, get ready for this. 30 years ago, the Greenland ice sheet was barely melting at all. So 6 times, almost no ice loss, remains almost no ice loss. Oh, they are smart ass. When recent ice loss is compared to the full Greenland ice sheet, the loss is so small that it is almost undetectable. Sea level measurements contradict claims that Greenland ice loss threatens coastal flooding. NASA satellite instrument with readings dating back to 1993 show global sea rising at a pace merely 1.2 inches per decade, which is not significantly different than the typical rate of sea level rise since the mid 1800s. So they go into all of their bullshit, and quite frankly, it really is. It's all gaslighting. What they do is they take reality, or they take real researched data, real peer-reviewed data, and they twist it all around, and they make it suit their own narrative to get the the unenlightened, uneducated, or it could be even educated, because a lot of them, I just cannot believe that the people that are so educated believe the bullshit. They just like the money. They like the fossil fuel industry. I mean, Heartland is funded by, here, let's see. They have their, I'll show you who they're funded by. And I've done this show before, by the way, because they are one of my favorite ridiculous organizations. They are funded by a lot of ExxonMobil, Walton Family, Chase, the Rodney Fund, a lot of different, but everybody that gives them money, the Roe Foundation, Claude Lebert, the American Petroleum Institute. It may not seem like a lot of money, but it still curries favor. It still does. It curries favor, and of course, these companies, they want that favor. You know, they do. I still can't get over the fact that these guys have no sponsors on their website. perhaps these, no, maybe it's embarrassing for the sponsors to want to be, or for people like that I just read about. Maybe at this point in 2021, it's a bit embarrassing, huh? I don't know. I'm not in that genre. I'm just certainly showing you. Okay, so now I'm going to bring you to another one of their little things. So you know what they do is they create a lot of these online like Climate at a Glance, and they make them seem like they are really somebody or something that they are not, and they gaslight you and they lie. And here's one on climate change refugees. I'm not even going to go into it because everything is bullshit. Or it's just opposite world. It's opposite world. They show opposite world, and that is coined from my friend Nicole Sandler. So let's go to the next one.
Katrina had hit in 2005, he declared the major hurricanes like this to be the new normal. Well, then nature says, you know what, Al, we'll see about that. And so an 11.8 year period went by where there were no major category 3, 4, or 5 landfalls of hurricanes in the United States. That never happened before in our entire record. Went a tremendous period of time without having major hurricanes. But at the same time, people are saying hurricanes are getting worse, hurricanes are getting more frequent, but the data doesn't support it.
Well, the data doesn't support it, but that's what they say, you know. But of course, they're very good at manipulating the English language. And I just wanted to show you this. Let me see if I can get it a little bit bigger because he's talking about hurricanes. And this shows you, let me move myself, that hurricanes in history, now this is only to 2008, but there were more hurricanes, just by looking at this. And another thing about them is he puts on his whole presentation, and I decided not to show you all of his graphs and all, because anybody can take a graph from somewhere else and manipulate it. Why not go right to the source? Why not go to the NOAA, where they have plenty of tools where you can see for yourself with data and tools? All of these government websites in the United States and probably other governments have these open websites. But if you look, 2003 Isabel, 2004 Charlie, 2004 Francis, 2004 Ivan, 2004 Jeannie, 2005 Dennis, Katrina 2005, Rita 2005, Wilma 2005, Ike 2008. So but in the beginning there was 1900 in Galveston, but then there wasn't another one until 1999. So if you listen to him, you realize that he's just completely full of bullshit, and he's part of the Bullshiit Brigade. And there's, you know, I can't tell you anymore. I hope people, maybe somebody will just get a hold of this live stream and want to see the ridiculousness for what it is, the IPCC has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of peer reviewers. And while there are times when I think the IPCC is a little under the numbers, maybe softening the blow a little bit, the Heartland Institute wants to deny that there's anything. It's, oh my God, life is beautiful, and there's nothing going on. And they, rain did not just fall on the Arctic ice sheet. That was one of the articles. If I can find it, it was one of the articles that they were talking about. Well, basically that nothing was happening, and I'm like, okay, we know. And they bring up that ice is growing. I wish I could find this one. I had it. Let's see. They have another one. Oh, here it is. I got it. Okay, here we go. So, I think I read this to you, or did I read this to you? Okay, well, I don't think I did. So we're gonna, or maybe I did. But I want to go back to this where they talk about oh yeah, I did read it. The 6 times faster than 30 years ago. Well, they want to make you think that nothing's wrong. That it's so small it's indetectable. But that's not, of course, what really happened. And so now we know that it happened. It happened. It rained. And I'm not going to read you this whole thing because that's not what the importance is. It's the importance of them gaslighting and bullshitting the public, the American public. Hi, Sharhana. Oh, she's saying hi to everybody. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Very much so. So, they're going to have their party. And, here's another one. Okay, this is really good. I want to know, in their climate realism, and that's why I'm not going to say I'm a realist. Here's an article. Sorry. Okay, I got to find it. Let's get it. Current application. Okay. Sorry. Medical journals evidence indicates climate change doesn't threaten human health. I'm sorry, guys. Climate change doesn't threaten human health. Pollution in the air doesn't threaten human health. But they will give you a bullshit article here, and they will tell you that all of the mainstream media is just giving you an alarmist and there's nothing wrong. And I just say, well, then you know what? Go back outside to your garage and you put your mouth on the tailpipe, which is what is out there that we're all breathing, and then come back and report about any health issues. Okay? Why don't you do that? Or why don't you hoof up some glyphosate while you're at it? Yeah, maybe that would change your mind a little bit. I don't know. So, I had another one, but I'm not sure if I took it about it. And I played it. Well, what I wanted to do, they did talk also about in his piece about droughts. And they always like to go back in history. Now, of course, history does show a lot of things that happen and that could be trends. Of course, the historical record is critical. However, even though in 1930 the Dust Bowl happened, the temperatures were high, they love to continually go back to 1930 and say, see, it happened then, and we weren't supposedly global warming. But I think we had already had, 150 years, maybe plus, of putting carbon in the atmosphere. So they're always arguing this, and they're saying, oh, there's no drought. But, they show their own stuff. And here I have found where you can just go in again. This is the NOAA National Center, and you can go in and you can look at the droughts. They say because he tried to equate California fires with just being nothing here, and of course saying that I don't remember what the name of the 2018 fire was, but it was the utility company's fault. But if those wires fell on moist ground, would those fires have happened? So you can see I had plugged in to go through drought all the way from 2005 to 2021 because Mr. Watts had said that it was a bunch of bullshit, that he was saying we were full of it, that the drought in California ended. Well, it ebbs and flows, but it didn't end. And he manipulated the data. And again, because I'm not a scientist, and neither is he's a meteorologist, but he is a scientist to a degree. But he's not a trained. I'm a citizen scientist, but I'm not going to sit here and I am not going to compare all his charts and graphs. That's what other people do. There's other really good debunkers on that. I'm here to tell you that it is just ludicrous that these people even exist, and talking about hurricanes and how, oh folks, there's nothing to see here, and people say, oh my God, Hurricane Sandy did the same thing that Ida did, but Hurricane Sandy fell off the coast of New York and New Jersey. Ida moved its way overland through the country, landed in Louisiana. It is not the norm. There were definite reasons for that to happen, and that has to do with what we have put into our environment. End of story, end of story. Time magazine even had an article on Hurricane Ida and whether Ida can move public opinion on climate change. I'm not going to read it. We don't know. I don't know. Because you look at all the stuff on social media, and even though they really don't have a big presence, they really have a small presence. I'm going to take you to their Twitter page. This is their Twitter page. And of note, let me see here. Of note is, okay, so they were right on this like a fly on shit. They on their climate realism, the Heartland Institute, that they got onto the polar bear story. And they have a resident polar bear expert, this doctor, PhD that got kicked out of a university in Canada. This is an old story for, I guess, just being a jerk. It's an old story. That's not what I'm here to tell you. What I'm here to tell you is not totally her story. But I want to show you. Okay, Susan. So she's the one. And right away, Anthony Watts has an article in the hopper that minute, that day. He must just, have a template that he uses all the time to say that, oh my gosh, about the inbreeding paints a dire picture. And the study claims to have found a 10% decrease in the genetic diversity of polar bears. All right, blah, blah, blah. I want to go to her. Because, first of all, Susan Crawford, PhD, she says the study's meaningless. And so she goes into why it's meaningless. But let me tell you something. She was a bone specialist. Like, she looked at animal bones and examined animal bones. But I do not believe, and that's the controversy here with her polar bear science website, which people will believe is not pseudoscience. And this is pseudoscience bullshit. Now, I would rather get my news from the USGS than on her right-wing, fossil fuel funded bullshit, because what she's doing with this is appealing to the heartstrings of people, and they could say, oh, no, 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 they are like, we are getting our heartstrings pulled and manipulated about the polar bears. No, we're just reading the research. We're understanding the research. Yeah, it's upsetting. Yeah, I don't like it. But this woman, she's just going to, oh no, everything's fine. Everything's fine. The ice is not melting and they have plenty of habitat. Well, that's not always what the reality says, So there's more of their gaslighting, absolute bullshit, basically. So they're going to have a party. They are going to have a party. And I'm not going to be there. Are you? So does anybody have anything they want to ask or have any questions? Let's see what you're doing in the chat, guys. Wow. Sure says it's much worse than they are telling us. Well, of course, they're going to call us alarmists over there at the Heartland Institute. They're going to tell us that we are just horrible people and that we are the gaslighting ones, that we are the liars. But I'm sorry, but we have, I can't even say the truth. I can't stand when people say what they believe. Facts, babes. Facts. Oh, another thing that really peeves me about them? They love to bust on the models, the scientific modeling. Well, it's what we have. It's what we have. And by busting, I don't always say modeling is wonderful. Of course, again, I'm not a scientist. That's why I bring scientists on the channel. They like to just create that distrust in science. They like to be the arbiters of what's real with their no experience in research papers of any of their sponsors of their speakers at their conference. Honest to God. Okay, let's find you, Greg, since you did such a great job. Where are you? I know you had a comment somewhere. Oh my goodness. You're all busy. Hooples. They are lizards. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It wasn't mine. It's Gregory's. I'm going to have to attribute this to him. Gregory made it, and he's on here somewhere. Gregory has a comment on here somewhere. Greg, I can't find you. It's going so fast. Oh, but he's in here, and I'm attributing, he made it for me and sent it to me, and I loved it. I absolutely, I loved it. So I will put a link to it if anybody wants it. Hey, Benny Loco. Welcome. Yes, Karen, Arctic News has great stuff. Yes. Greg, okay. Can we find Greg's Oh, here it is. Polar bears used to spend so much time at sea they are classed as marine mammals. Not for much longer. Well, that's interesting. Somebody asked if that's true. I wonder if her page would... Should I pull up Dr. Sandra... what is her name? Dr. Bullshit of the Bullshitters page. Oh my gosh. Polar bears. Ursus maritimus. Gregory, you are a wealth of information. Yes. Let's see. Hoople's cat's with us. Global land and ocean temperature since 1980 suggestive of warming, I think. Oh yeah. But these people are going to lie. They are going to obfuscate so that they really are. The Koch industries are huge behind. That's who started the Heartland Institute in the first place. John Schmidt, anybody can just look at the Arctic sea ice volume for the last 30 years from NASA. I'm telling you, they're almost telling people that there's no ice melt. This is what they do. Oh my God. If someone tells you that they're having a heart problem, having a heart is the problem, ask if they are a narcissist or a sociopath. How many of those do we need? Do we know? I know one. I know one. And yeah, that's right. The gaslight starts. That's where the gaslight starts. Oh, Scott. Scott. Your relatives believe this stuff? I mean, they have nobody even, let's see, on their Twitter site. Even I have, and I don't hardly have anybody on Twitter. Let's see how many people shared Anthony Watt's climate realism article. Let's see if there's a grand total there. Because really, I think people are getting hip too. Not even liked. Okay, good. Not even liked. I mentioned the Arctic melting and this dude went apoplectic. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Yeah, classic bait and switch of the psychopath. They're all psychopaths at the Heartland Institute. In one way or another, they have to be. They have to be. I mean, the guy... All right, guys. Yeah, one Koch brother down, one to go. Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you for being with me. I hope you got something out of this. It was interesting. I enjoyed doing it. I really don't want to give them any more coverage. I just really wanted to. Oh, I did have one more thing, and maybe I will get to that one more thing. Before I leave, I'm going to go, and I did forget it. So I want to talk about this a little bit. And this was, again, about hurricanes. And I had found this little thing, and I just wanted to give you a little bit of what, and this, again, it kind of debunks what these people say. Jeff Bernadelli, who Antonio has interviewed, who was a meteorologist and went for a climate PhD, climate science PhD, or climate change, he says in the comprehensive 2015 paper, lead author Thomas Knudsen of the NOAA GFDL, now that is, they are the leaders in climate model development. So this goes back to the climate modeling. They are focused on comprehensive, long lead time research that is fundamental to advancing the scientific understanding of the physical, dynamic, chemical, and biogeochemical, even fancier, processes governing the behavior of the atmosphere, oceans, land, and ice components, and their interactions within the ecosystem. So scientists at the GFDL, they develop and use these models to improve our understanding and prediction of all aspects of the climate system. But you would think that it's terribly evil and horrible. So Jeff says that these authors examine a middle-of-the-road warming scenario by using computer model simulations. And along with many other studies, real studies, their projections show a general future decrease in the overall number of tropical cyclones. Now, that's the number. Now, wait. There's something to this. This decrease in number of storms is generally believed to be a byproduct, okay, of increasing wind shear, which is hostile environmental winds expected in the tropics. And there are many more significant reasons for these anticipated decreases in the storm number. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but according to Emmanuel of MIT, an increase in saturation deficit of the atmosphere at cloud level, that's the culprit identified on model simulations. So in simpler terms, the saturation deficit just means the atmosphere has a tougher time reaching its capacity of moisture. All right? So while many models do forecast a decrease in number, Emmanuel's 213 study, using a higher end warming scenario, found that a frequency of tropical cyclones increased in most locations. So that study is not alone. There's a more recent one that was from Kiernan Bhatia from the NOAA GFDL, using the high resolution, high floor model. That shows a global increase in storm frequency of 9% and 23% increase in the Atlantic Basin by the end of the 21st century. Okay, by the end, there we go. It's like the end of 2100. But when asked about, and this is very important, when asked about the conflicting research findings on cyclone frequency, Emmanuel said, he said, by email, that's what he said, by email, my own view is that we really do not know at this point whether the overall global frequency of tropical cyclones will increase, decrease, or stay the same, but it is an area of active research. But he stresses that the frequency metric is dominated by weak storms that typically do not do much damage, making frequency much less consequential than nailing down future intensity and rainfall. So there is a strong consensus in the tropical cyclone climate community that the incidence of high category events will increase and that storms will precipitate more. And that's what we are seeing, isn't it? That is definitely what we are seeing. Oh, we are seeing those storms. That's what it is. So please like and subscribe if you've liked my information. No, I want to thank you. And yes, we are reaping what we've sown, but not according to Heartland. Again, go build that house in the middle of the Heartland. Go develop the shit out of everywhere and then have a tornado hit you. Yeah, a tornado. That was, climate change induced. Yeah, tornadoes are normal and natural. Okay. But not always. Not always. All right, guys. So I read you that. That was my last little ditty. We're going on an hour. Thank you, Warren, for being here. And Lightning Rod and Anthony Davis. Okay. Looking for the God particle. What a waste of intellectual energy. Yes. You know what? I'll end with that, Hoops. It is the critters. It is the critters. God, I love you all. I really do. I want to thank you. Give us a hand. Buy me a coffee. Doing my little fundraiser. I'm not monetizing the channel. I thank you. I'm appreciative. I'm really appreciative. Thanks. I love you guys. Peace out. Hope you enjoyed the show.